Hey guys, I'm Tech and welcome. Today we're going to go over how to fix or restore your furniture back to its original glory. Over time, if you use something like this, which is a Ikea desk, it does get scratches on, or perhaps like I was moving as well, I got additional dings on it because you're moving and you tend to hit a wall or something and you get dings, scratches, all kind of stuff. So today I'm going to go over two ways we're going to try to restore them back to original glory. And as you can see here, they have scratches. Some of them are minor, some of them are deeper, and hopefully you can see this here. This one, for example, the edge, that can be fixed, so at least doesn't show up in somebody's eye really dramatically. Additional reason why you want to try to restore as well, because you can actually get even desks, second hand, and instead of paying brand new, because I believe this desk was like originally over $400, and I have a few of them, so restoring them makes sense, especially if I would have to buy new ones, where I can spend on something like this, which is a pen marker with a crayons fill-in, and it doesn't really do a great job when it comes to a lot of scratches, but when you have a ding or scratch, at least with this, it will not catch somebody's eye that, oh, there's a big scratch on it or something. So this is not the only way we're gonna try to restore this furniture. I have another desk right there that I'm gonna try a different method on seeing if I can restore it and make it even better than the original one. But for small scratches and dings, you can get something like this. This is a Ram Pro sort of marker coloration thing. So what it is, you just try to find markers with similar color of your furniture, and they have some crayons that fill in deep cracks. So we're gonna try that out, and you can see how that looks like, if it helps. So the markers are one way to try to restore your furniture, but I'm gonna try something else so you can actually see and compare. Maybe the alternative is a better choice, but it all depends what you're doing and what you're trying to restore. For the other table, since it has a lot of scratches, I decided, I'm gonna go with a wood stain and try to cover that instead of using the markers. That way every scratch and maybe even the top will be slightly stained with this. You can get this at Home Depot for under $10, so this is not the expensive part. The second thing I'm gonna do is actually put some polyurethane clear coat on top of that desk to see how it looks like. I'm gonna probably do 2 coats because I want to have a nice thick layer. I'm using the floor furnish because it's harder than typical furnish, especially when it's water-based. I've been working with this particular brand for a while, and even though it's meant for floors, I found that it works great almost on anything. The only problem with this thing is they only come with 1 gallon or more, and they're about $40 at the Home Depot. I'm not sure if you can find them somewhere else. Of course, for everything you see here that I'm showing you guys, I'll have a link in the description so you can see it for yourself and compare prices at different stores. Most of the stuff I do get on Amazon, so I got the markers and crayons on Amazon, but you can get them at a Home Depot or Lowe's or any hardware store. Pretty much almost everybody has it. It just so happened that I just ordered them because the closest Home Depot, they were just so happened they were out, and I didn't want to drive further down. But however, for polyurethane here, I did have to go to Home Depot. They did have it, and I'll put the link as well so you can have it. For the stain, I just bought the cheapest one. This is the espresso color, so it's not black, but it's dark, so hopefully it will cover all the scratches well. We'll see, maybe something darker would have been better, but we'll take a look. And I just bought the cheapest one just because I'm not sure how it's gonna look like, but we'll experiment. I'll let you guys compare it. So let's see if we can get those scratches out with the markers first, and then I'll go over the process of using the polyurethane. So over here I got some scratches. So first thing you want to do, of course, is check to see if it's deep scratch or not. This is, I can feel the scratch. It's a little deeper, but it's not that bad. This one's just scratch off the surface. So if you have a scratch that's slightly deep and you can feel it with your finger, you want to pop the markers off. So in my case, I'm going to use the mahogany, which is it's the closest instead of black, but I'll show you both, I guess. And of course you want to get a crayon that sort of matches the color, because this is not black. Looks like it may look black on a camera, but it's actually dark mahogany. So if you have a deep scratch, you want to use the crayon sort of to fill in that space, so the way it's nice and smooth. You want to do it sideways, any way possible to get it into the groove, so that way it's nice and smooth. Then, depending on how deep the scratch is and how wide, something like a spatula, so it's a nice flat surface, you want to sort of take it off and smooth it out, and then take a clean paper towel and just wipe it down, so that way it's nice and smooth and you shouldn't feel the groove anymore. Once you've done that, you take the marker and you go over the scratch. And of course, if it's too light, you can go over it again, and then it will darken it so it's not as visible. So then you do one wipe again, and of course, let's do it again. It's quite bright. And then with a towel, just go over it and wipe it down. It is visible, however, it's no longer white where it catches your eye automatically. It's not perfect, but it blends, you know. So if I go a little darker, maybe, because this is so dark, let me go with black color for half of the line. See if I can maybe match it better. It's definitely visible if you really look at it. However, from far away, it will no longer catch our eye. For something like the corner, you can also just use the marker since there's no groove. Go over it a few times because it will definitely be too light here because this is quite dark. So this process will take a few times. Once it dries out a little bit, wipe the excess off. Because this is such a bright area, this will require quite a few touches. And the more you use it to top it off, the darker it will get. So as you can see, you can definitely tell from up close that it's been touched up. However, now when I zoom out, you can barely tell the difference. So even if I go here and go even with the darker a little bit, I could probably get away with this one here. I'm just gonna wipe it down. Because technically there's sort of more like a stain and not really a marker, because you could use a Sharpie and get away with it probably if it's really small, but something bigger will show. So it definitely looks much better. So this is definitely a quick way to get this fixed, but before I finish the table off, let me try the second method with the stain and polyurethane, and let's see if the result is good or not. You'll be the judge, so if you decide to want to do it or not. I'm gonna try it out since I have the convenience of actually testing it out on a different table. And if it looks great, I'm gonna do that to all those tables here as well. So let's get started with that. So this is the before. I have lots of scratches here and I want to address that. So I'm gonna take the top off, put it on another bench. We're gonna stain it, sand it down, and put some clear coat polyurethane on it. Probably 2 coats, we'll see, and see how it looks like. And you can decide whether this is the approach you want to go, which is a little more expensive, a lot more work. But if you have a lot of scratches, you may restore some furniture, or if you decide perhaps you can find some secondhand furniture that has scratches. You know, good desks are quite expensive, and you can restore the tops. That's usually the pieces that get damaged when they're used. You can save a lot of money, especially when you need more than one desk. And in my case, I have a lot of desks. So let me get started. So I got this nice big table that I'm gonna use. Most of you guys, of course, you're not gonna take apart your furniture. But if you can, try to move it to a place where if it drips, it will not damage things like carpet and stuff like that. I got this little platform here because I want to get the edges as well. So before we begin anything, what you want to do is use your hands and go over the scratches and see if any of the scratches are deep enough where it creates a groove. So I have a small groove here and a groove here. So what I'm going to do is take my crayon again and go side by side, try to fill that space. Because if we put a clear coat on top of it, the groove will stay there. It may not look like it's there, but it's going to be there. So we're going to quickly try to fill that in, put a lot of pressure, get that crayon in there. Don't worry if you go over the lines. We're gonna use our spatula there to level it out. Like if it's small groove, chances are the clear coat will level it out, but if it doesn't, we want to make sure that it's not as noticeable. And it's okay if there's some axes here, because next step will be actually to sand it the area. For that I'm going to use that 220 paper. So this is from my orbital sander, because that's what I have right now. And I apologize for the mess. It's just I'm still moving process and I'm trying to get things done. So 220 paper, and you want to sand it down lightly. This is so the stain and the clear coat will stick to the table, otherwise it will just peel off. So lightly sand it down. All around, including the edges. Be careful on the edges. You don't want to go too dark, because otherwise you will scrape off the color. Even though we're going to be staining it, it's probably a good idea not to go over. So I could use a orbital sander for this, but I don't want to make the noise. That's why I kind of want to move this into this area so I can avoid any dust in the office space there. But I mean, the slight sanding doesn't create that much dust, so it should be okay. But ideally you want to do this in a dust-free space. Then you want to take some towel paper. Ideally you want to use a towel, not a towel paper. But I don't know where my towels are, so this is what I'm going to use. And of course alcohol. I'm sure right now everybody has plenty of that. This will help take out the dust. Get your stain ready. And another thing you want to get ready is some gloves. Stain will stain your hands if you don't use gloves, so be careful with it. Make sure you get towel, alcohol, and gloves handy, so that way if you spill it anywhere you can wipe it down really quick. You don't cover your hands. Should be good to go. Ready to go. This may not be the best process the way I'm doing it, but I'm not an expert. If any of you guys know the proper way to do this and I'm doing it wrong, let me know in the comments. That way other viewers can know that I'm doing it wrong, and you can tell them the correct way to do it. But I will try it my way and see how it looks like. So let's get this stain ready. Let's shake it just in case something's wrong with it. Bring you towel paper, lots of it. And you can only need a little bit to get started. So let's pop this baby open. And be careful with it. All right. And what you want to do is spread it really good. So a small can will actually get a lot done. Just do it small areas at a time. Don't overdo it here. Just make sure it's spread it nicely. Let's see how well it covers the scratches. It's actually doing a better job than expected. The area here, right here, looks really nice. Since I don't care if it's gonna get dark, I'm gonna leave the stain on there for a while. I may even redo it so it's nice and dark, but all the scratches are not visible anymore. We can definitely do a touch-ups later if we need to, but some of the small scratches are nicely gone. The deeper ones are a little visible still. Hopefully the clear coat will fix that. Use a fresh towel and just wipe it down right now, so that way it's nice and even. I'm gonna let it dry a little bit, and I'm gonna reapply because I want those scratches to disappear, and they're still a little visible. This way, if I wipe it down, the stain should be fairly even, because otherwise if you leave it for too long in one space, and it may go dark and you will notice it later on. I'm gonna let this stand for 10 minutes, let the stain sink in. We're gonna reapply. I just noticed that there's some paint here, and this side could use a little darkening. So first, let me take the spatula and see if I can scrape off this paint here that's stuck to table, even though this is the back, so it shouldn't really matter that much. Let's see if we can get it done. Get this edge here nicely coated. So actually, it might be a good idea just to get the areas that are brighter, in my case, just to put some extra so that the stain sink in. So I'm gonna leave the stain for about 30 seconds to a minute. Let that color sink in, dry it out, and slowly try to take the excess stain off it with a brand new towel. I'm curious how badly am I doing here when it comes to staining furniture or anything else. I've done this way once before and it was okay, so if I'm doing it wrong, please correct me. Let me know in the comments below what am I doing right so I can learn from you guys, and next time I'll do it the right way if I'm doing it wrong. Or maybe there isn't a right way to do it. Well, I'm sure there is a right way. I know some professionals, you know, they can even fix scratches on really expensive furniture. I cannot do that, but I've seen them do it, and it's remarkable how well they can fill the scratches and even the different texture, so it looks like original, that it was never touched, damaged, or anything like that. So, you know, if you have expensive piece, try to get professionals to do it for you, and I'm sure they'll do a wonderful job on expensive part. But I mean, I'm sure it's not cheap, so, but I know it's doable. Okay, I think at this point, now that we took the excess stain off, and let it dry, and we're gonna prepare for our first clear coat. Just rechecking to make sure that it's drying out evenly. But what I'm thinking I'm gonna do, because I found it and I can, is like a small brush, and I'm gonna take the stain and just apply on the small areas. This is an extra step. You don't really have to do it. I'm just being really picky of what I'm doing here, because I want to make it look good. Because you guys will definitely crucify me in the comments if it doesn't look at least somewhat decent. If I'm not mistaken, if you are staining something to different colors, you should do put it on, wait 5-10 seconds, and wipe it down. Because you don't, unless you want it really dark, because the longer you're gonna leave the wood protected there with the stain, the brighter it's gonna get. All right, swipe up any dust if possible. Make sure there's no debris. I'm gonna change my gloves to fresh new ones. So this is oil-based polyurethane, so of course you need alcohol to wash your brush. In this case I have a this brush that wasn't cleaned properly. As you can see, there's a little paint on it, so I decided instead of just me cleaning it, I'm just gonna toss it. I have a new one waiting. All right, so I got some towels ready. Get the polyurethane opened. I know there's a can openers available. You can still use a flathead screwdriver to do so. And voila, one thing nice about polyurethane, you don't have to mix it because it's a oil base, it should be all the same. So, let's get started. Are you guys ready? We'll start from the middle. Do a nice thick coat. We'll get the edges last, because there might be some drips. But I do want to advise that you don't want to put too much. Too little is better than too much, because otherwise it's gonna not gonna spread evenly, and then you're gonna see sort of like puddles where you will see that one area has more and another area has less polyurethane. So it's very important that you do spread it out nice and evenly as much as you can. I mean, we will send it down again and redo it for the second coat, so if it isn't perfect the first time, it's okay. The second time we're gonna have to do a light coat. This will even it out for us in case it's not even anywhere. Probably would want to use a brand new brush, but I think I can get away with this. This one only has some slight discoloration, so the brush actually has been cleaned, but hasn't been perfectly cleaned, and that's why I'm gonna call it end of life brush with this polyurethane. The first coat is done. I'm gonna call it night, come back tomorrow and do the second coat, but for you guys it's gonna be like a few seconds, so see you guys. So for me it's the next day, for you guys a few seconds. The varnish has cured. It's actually looking very good as it is right now, but just because I do use the tables heavily, I'm gonna put a second coat. So before we get the second coat done, I'm gonna set it down. So actually, when I was looking for a paintbrush, I actually did find a real sheet of 220 paper, and we need to sand it down again. And this is so that we can remove any dust that's sitting on the varnish, and also so that the second coat can actually have something to stick on. So we're gonna sand it down again. This time we can rub a little harder since we have a coating on it, so it's not like we're gonna get into the paint or the color of the wood itself. Now that that's done, probably want to use something other than your clothes or yourself to wipe the dust off, but I want to get this done. So of course, wipe it down, towel, get the heavy dust off it. Once we're done with that part, alcohol again. It's just that it cleans so much better with it. I mean, this is regular household, you know, I see profit, but you can get proper alcohol at your hardware store. You're gonna wipe it down. I want to get all that dust properly cleaned. And of course, this is the stage where we have a last chance to correct any imperfection in the tables. So that's what I'm gonna do. I still have that groove. I still slightly feel it. So I'm gonna take the crayon again. One thing I did off camera is actually, I did put the brush into the alcohol again, just so I can reuse it. I figured, you know, why waste this brush on just one-time use where I can reuse it at least to finish this project for this table. And I'll use a brand new brush for the rest of the tables. Now that I got the sponge, now that I got the brush dried, I'm gonna pop up the furnish again. And I always recommend to use gloves. This way just saves you a lot of time from cleanups, because this stuff gets on your hand, it will get sticky and it's hard to clean it off. And this way, if you have gloves, all you gotta do is take them off. It is not recommended that you do more than 2 coats unless you do really thin coats, because after a while you will notice that the varnish is actually not as even. You'll see sort of like a swimming pools of varnish, so 2 coats is ideal. But this looks good, so I can put that back on the table, and let it cure for next 2 days, and I'm really satisfied with the way it came out. I'm gonna do that same thing on the rest of the furniture because I like it. I think it looks great. But of course, you can be the judge. I'm gonna put this table against the other one so you can see the difference more up close. Hopefully it shows up great on camera. If not, I'm sorry. But you know, that's something worth doing. I think you can definitely restore scratched tables or that you bought secondhand, or perhaps yours that got damaged over time. This is a great way to fix it. Of course, one thing I could have done better, and I will probably for the rest of the tables, is use a darker stain. The stain I use is, I believe it was, what is it, Espresso, which is not the darkest that you can go. It's sort of, on a wood maybe it would have been fine, but since we tried to cover the scratches a little more, I did have to touch up a little more here, and I went too dark with a marker. That's why you can probably see it in the camera. But if I use just even black stain, probably would do better, which I will use that for the rest of the tables. But overall, it's a great result. It does require a lot more money to be spent. It does require a lot more work. But if you have the time and space, I think it's definitely worth it. So let me show you guys the comparison. So now I get the comparison. That's with the one to scratch. I got some better lighting here. Table, and this is the old one. So side by side. Sorry for the mess, I'm still moving, but overall this is the difference right here. So I think it looks great. If you're not into shiny, then just go different clear coat. But in my opinion, especially when you have more than one piece or something, or you have a lot of time, and you don't have to buy the furnish or the polyurethane, this is a great project to restore your furniture back to its glory. And I'm really happy with the results. And you know, the old one doesn't look terrible, but it looks, you know, you can tell that it's old, and this sort of gives it that new look. Side by side. Hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure to click like, subscribe. And since I'm moving and I'm doing a lot of renovations projects in this new space, so I'm gonna try to make more videos like this and similar, and other how to do projects. So make sure to subscribe. Thank you. See you guys soon.